Put two people in the same room. Same age, same education, same city, same starting salary. 20 years later, one is worth $2 million. The other is still living paycheck to paycheck. What happened? This isn't a hypothetical. Steve Siebold spent nearly 30 years and interviewed over 1,200 of the wealthiest people on the planet to answer exactly this question. And his answer was brutal, direct, and impossible to argue with. The gap isn't income. It isn't luck. It isn't who their parents were. The single biggest gap, documented across every culture, every country, every economic system he studied, was how they thought about money. Not what they did with money, how they thought about it. Because the thinking always comes first. The action is just the echo. Today I'm going to give you the complete wealth mind map. 7 documented mental frameworks that separate how the wealthy process money from how everyone else does. Not motivational fluff. Not vague advice about positive thinking. The specific, documented, research-backed cognitive differences explained precisely, so you can identify exactly where your own thinking is costing you money right now. Let's go. One important framing before we start. This isn't about envying the wealthy or dismissing their advantages. Some had privilege, some didn't. What Siebold and Corley and every serious researcher found is that the mindset differences they documented are learnable. They are not genetic. They are not locked to birth. They are patterns, cognitive patterns, that can be studied, identified, and deliberately adopted. That's the entire premise. It's the reason this research matters. Framework number 1, and the most foundational cognitive shift: the wealthy see money as a tool. The middle class sees it as a destination. Steve Siebold documented this contrast explicitly. The wealthy view money as a tool for freedom. The middle class sees it as a source of stress and a goal to be achieved. This single distinction changes every financial decision downstream. When money is a destination, you chase it. You hoard it. You fear losing it. When money is a tool, you deploy it. You invest it. You use it to acquire more tools. Mellon Street's research on high net worth psychology confirmed this directly. The wealthy see money as a means to an end, not an end in itself. In practice, this looks like this. A middle-class person who receives a $5,000 bonus thinks, "What can I buy?" Or, "I should save this safely." A wealthy-minded person thinks, "What asset can I acquire that puts this $5,000 to work?" The question changes everything. One question treats money as the endpoint. One treats it as the starting point. Harv E. Kerr, author of Secrets of the Millionaire Mind, captured it. Rich people believe, I create my life. Poor people believe, life happens to me. Money is tool, is money is agency. And agency produces outcomes that passivity never does. Framework number 2, the operating system that runs beneath every financial decision. Abundance mindset versus scarcity mindset. New Trader Use Research Review documented this as one of the 10 most critical wealth mindset differences. Wealthy individuals operate from a mindset of abundance, believing there are always more opportunities to create value. This encourages innovation and collaboration rather than competition and jealousy. The middle class operates from scarcity, a fixed pie mentality where one person's gain must be someone else's loss. And this isn't just philosophical. It produces measurably different behaviors. Scarcity thinkers hoard information, avoid risk, and protect what they have. Abundance thinkers share, invest, and seek to expand. The financial consequences of scarcity thinking are documented and severe. People operating in scarcity mode are measurably less likely to invest because investing feels like losing the money. They are less likely to negotiate salary because asking feels like taking something from someone. They are less likely to take career risks because the downside feels catastrophic rather than recoverable. The wealthy don't have fewer fears about money. They have a different relationship with what losing money means. Bonanza Wealth's research on high net worth psychology found that the wealthy use systems, patience, and long-term thinking precisely because their abundance mindset allows them to trust that what's lost today can be rebuilt. Framework number 3, and the one that restructures every daily decision. The wealthy treat time as their real currency, not money. Siebold documented this contrast precisely. The middle class believes that working more hours equals earning more money. The wealthy believe that the value you create, independent of hours worked, is what generates income. M.J. DeMarco's research on wealth psychology introduced what he called the fast lane mindset. Wealth is built by creating systems that generate income independent of hours worked. Corley's research confirms this. 44% of self-made millionaires woke up 3 or more hours before their workday. Not to work more hours, but to use the highest value hours of their day for the highest leverage activities. In practical terms, this mindset produces a different kind of financial ambition. The middle class asks, how do I earn more per hour? The wealthy ask, how do I create a system that earns while I sleep? This isn't a fantasy. Index funds, rental properties, dividend portfolios, businesses with employees, all of these are real, accessible, documented mechanisms for decoupling income from time. And the wealthy don't stumble into them. They deliberately build toward them because their mental model of money demands it. The Medium.com wealth psychology research put it directly. The rich focus on opportunities, not obstacles. Hours are an obstacle. Leverage is the opportunity. Framework number 4. The cognitive framework that separates people who try once from people who eventually succeed. The wealthy process failure as data, not as a verdict on their worth. New Trader U documented this as one of the 10 core mindset differences. Wealthy individuals don't see failure as permanent. They see it as feedback. Each setback contains specific information about what to adjust. The middle class, by contrast, often processes financial failure as identity-level information. I failed at this investment, therefore I am bad with money. That identity conclusion shuts down future attempts entirely. And the financial cost of that shutdown is enormous. Tom Corley's research found that 27% of his 233 self-made millionaires had failed in business at least once. And 63% had taken calculated risks that didn't always pay off. The failure rate among the wealthy isn't lower than among everyone else. It's higher. They attempted more. The difference is what they did after the failure. They extracted the data, adjusted the model, and tried again. This is documented not as resilience in some vague, inspirational sense, but as a literal cognitive process of treating financial setbacks as scientific experiments rather than personal indictments. Framework number 5. The temporal horizon that changes everything. The wealthy play a fundamentally different game in time. While most Americans optimize their financial decisions for the next month or the next year, the wealthy optimize for the next decade. Mellon Street's research on wealthy psychology found that their decisions are guided by strategy rather than emotion. And strategy requires a time horizon long enough to let compounding work. Siebold documented this explicitly. The wealthy think long-term, delaying immediate gratification for long-term payoffs. The middle class prioritizes short-term pleasure at the expense of long-term wealth. This isn't willpower. It's a different operating time frame. The financial consequence of a long game is compounding. A $10,000 investment at age 25 at 8% annual return is worth $217,000 at age 65. The same investment at age 45 is worth $46,000. The investment is identical. The time horizon is different. 20 years of compounding created $171,000 out of nothing but patience. And patience is not a personality trait. It is a product of a mental model that makes the 65-year-old version of yourself as real and as important as the version that exists today. The wealthy have that mental model. Most people don't, but it can be built. Framework number 6, the identity shift that changes every spending decision. The wealthy operate from an owner identity. The middle class operates from a consumer identity. New Trader U's research review captured this precisely. While middle-class professionals often prioritize job security and steady paychecks, wealthy individuals actively seek ownership of businesses, of real estate, of income-generating assets. The fundamental question changes. A consumer asks, What can I buy? An owner asks, what can I own that pays me? Robert Kiyosaki's foundational research confirmed this. Assets put money in your pocket, liabilities take it out. The wealthy fill their lives with assets. The consumer fills their life with liabilities that look like assets. In practical terms, this identity shows up in small daily decisions. A consumer sees a bonus and asks, what experience or item will make me feel good now? An owner sees the same bonus and asks, can I convert this into an asset that produces future income? The research from New Trader shows that wealthy individuals rarely rely on a single income source, combining business ownership, investment dividends, rental income, and intellectual property royalties. This diversification isn't the product of high income. It's the product of an owner identity that, over time, systematically converts every available dollar into a producing asset. Framework number 7, and the master program that runs all the others, the growth mindset. New Trader U's comprehensive research review found this at the core of wealthy psychology. Wealthy individuals view their abilities and intelligence as qualities that can be developed, not fixed traits. This single belief that I can get better at this makes every other framework accessible. You can adopt an owner identity only if you believe you're capable of becoming an owner. You can extract data from failure only if you believe your abilities are improvable. You can play the long game only if you believe the person you'll be in 10 years is worth investing in today. The growth mindset is the ground beneath every other cognitive shift. Tom Corley's research on 233 millionaires found that 85% read 2 or more books per month, specifically to develop new capabilities, not to be entertained, to grow. This is growth mindset operationalized. Time and money invested into becoming more capable, because more capable people create more value, and more value creates more wealth. Corley summarized it in one line. Becoming wealthy is less about what you earn and more about the mental habits you build over time. 7 frameworks. 1 master program. The wealth you build will be exactly as large as the thinking you're willing to update. 7 frameworks. Money is tool, not destination. Abundance over scarcity. Time is the real currency. Failure as data, not verdict. The long game over the current game. Owner identity over consumer identity. Growth mindset as the master program. Steve Siebold spent 30 years and 1,200 interviews arriving at this map. Tom Corley spent 5 years and 233 millionaires confirming it. The map is not a guarantee, but it is the documented territory of where wealth actually lives, and you now have it. If this video shifted something in how you think, share it with one person whose financial thinking could use an upgrade. Subscribe for research-backed content every week, and drop in the comments, which of these 7 frameworks do you think is furthest from how you currently think about money? Be honest. That answer is where your work starts. I read every comment. See you in the next one.